Let's see Punjab and Haryana High Court Clerk exam conducted on 4 October 2022, Shift 2. So question 1 is, which of the following is the apex body for sports in India established by Ministry of Youth Affairs? That is Sports Authority of India. Question 2. Which of the following was the first Satyagraha movement led by Gandhiji in India in 1970 and is considered a vital event in India's freedom struggle? That is Champaran Satyagraha 1970, launched in Bihar against the exploitation of indigo cultivator under the Tinkathiya system. 1917 में चंपारण, 1918 में अहमदाबाद मिल स्ट्राइक एंड खेड़ा सत्याग्रह, एंड इन 1919 रोलेट सत्याग्रह. Question 3. What is the name of the book based on a transparent commentary on the working of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, written by Vinod Rai? That is Not Just a Night Watchman, My Innings in the BCI. Question 4. Which mountain pass situated at 14,450 feet above sea level on the Indo-Tibetan border connects Sikkim with the Tibet Autonomous Region of China? That is Nathula. It is a high mountain pass in Sikkim on the India-China border. Question 5. In 1950, a small-scale industrial unit was the one which invested a maximum of 5 lakh. In 1950, rupees 5 lakh was the one invested a maximum of. Question 6. Dr. A. Gopal Krishna won the Vasvik Industrial Research Award for 2020 in Agriculture, Science and Technology in May 2022, of which institute is he the director? ICAR, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. His work include fish genetics, species conservation and mariculture. The award recognized his contribution in agriculture, science and technology. A. Gopal Krishna, CMFRI, Kochi. Question 7. Who among the following is the first Indian male tennis player to receive the Padma Shri Award? That is Ramanand Krishna. Padma Shri in 1962. Question 8. Which is the largest Indian bank with 1/4 market share, serving over 450 million customers through a vast network of over 22,000 branches? That is State Bank of India. And State Bank of India का पहले नाम था Imperial Bank. Question 9. Elaine Thompson was crowned Sportswoman of the Year at the 2022 Lawrence World Sports Award. Which sport she is associated with? Sprint, 100 meter and 200 meter events. Question 10. Which type of earthquake is usually small in magnitude, occurs near underground mine and is induced by pressure generated within rock? That is collapse earthquake. Question 11. In May 2022, the Indian men's badminton team won the Thomas Cup for the first time with a 3-0 win over Indonesia. Thomas Cup in Bangkok, Thailand. It was India's first Thomas Cup title. Question 12. In which architectural style is the 1,000-pillar temple built? That is Chalukyan. The 1,000-pillar temple at Hanamkonda, Telangana is a famous example of Kakatiya architecture, which is commonly placed within the border of Chalukyan's architectural tradition. It is associated with Kakatiya ruler Rudradeva. Question 13. Which is the oldest scholar organization set up by William Jones in 1784 to promote Oriental research and studies in India? That is Asiatic Society of Bengal. Asiatic Society of Bengal in Calcutta in 1784. Question 14. In which year was a school named Kala Kshetra established by Rukmani Devi for training in Bharatnatyam? In 1936. In 1936, at Adhyar Madras, now Chennai, it became a major center for Indian classical dance, music, and traditional arts, especially Bharatnatyam. Kal Kshetra Rukmani Devi, 1936, Chennai, Center for Bharatnatyam. Question 15. In 1833, which act was passed during the tenure of Lord William Bentinck that symbolized centralization in the administration of India? That is Charter Act. Charter Act 1833 was an important step towards administrative centralization. It ended the East India Company's commercial activities and made the Governor General of Bengal the Governor General of India with wider legislative authority. Charter Act 1833 in the tenure of Lord William Bentinck symbolized centralization in the administration of India. Question 16. As per the guideline of Rooftop Solar Program Phase 2 released in August 2019, what was the target of rooftop solar capacity in the residential sector by 2022? That is 4000 MW. 4000 megawatt of rooftop solar capacity in the residential sector through central financial assistance. The overall program was part of India's larger rooftop solar expansion target. Question 17. Who among the following was the only woman table tennis player from India to feature in the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing? That is Neha Agarwal. She became notable for being India's sole female table tennis representative at those games in 2008. Question 18. In Buddhist architecture, which part of the stupa denotes a pedestrian path for devotees to pay homage to the stupa? That is Medi. Medi is the raised circular terraced platform around the stupa used as a circumambulatory path. Devotees move clockwise around the stupa as an act of reverence. Question 19. Which state had the highest number of ODF plus villages by 31 December 2021 under Swachh Bharat Mission Grameen Phase 2, that is Telangana? Question 20. In October 2021, which constituent emirates of the UAE signed an agreement with India to develop infrastructure such as industrial parks, IT towers, multi-purpose towers, logistics center, a medical college and a specialized hospital in Jammu and Kashmir in Dubai? Question 21. What is the duration of the relaxation half-time break in Kabaddi? That is 5 minutes. Question 22. Who formulated a model in the early 1970s generally representing cell membrane structure and dynamics? That is Singer and Nicholson. In 1972, proposed the fluid mosaic model. It describes the cell membrane as a fluid lipid bilayer containing proteins that can move within the membrane. Question 23. Which of the following was not introduced by Purendra Das, the fifth man of Carnatic music? That is Janta Gitas. Janta Gitas are not introduced by Purendra Das. It is related to basic rag, not Carnatic music. Question 24. Which folk music of Jammu and Kashmir sung in Dogri depicts the agony of a newlywed girl whose husband is in the army? That is Surma. Question 25. Which is a complex starch derived substance from plants used to preserve fruit products such as jams, jellies and gummy candies? That is pectin. Pectin is a natural polysaccharide found in plant cell wall, especially fruit. It forms a gel in the presence of sugar and acid, which is why it is widely used in jams, jellies and similar food products. Question 26. In which year did M. Fatima Bibi become the first female judge of the Supreme Court of India? 1989. The first woman judge of the Supreme Court. Question 27. Which is a severe wasting disease caused by long-term inadequate intake of protein, carbohydrate and fat? That is marasmus is a severe form of protein energy malnutrition caused by prolonged deficiency of calories and protein. It leads to marked wasting, very low body weight and loss of muscle and fat. Question 28. During the Harappan civilization, the main material used for building construction was sun-dried and burnt bricks made in molds in a 1:2:4. Question 29. Which Hindu religious society was formed in May 1897 with purely spiritual and humanitarian purposes? That is Ramakrishna Mission 1897. Question 30. Which book depicts the journey of Dr. Thampton Eric Udwadia, the first surgeon in India to introduce laparoscopy, that is more than just surgery, life lesson beyond the OT? Question 31. What is it called when there is a decrease in the income of a government in comparison to its expenditure? That is fiscal deficit. Question 32. According to the Ministry of Mines Annual Report 2020 to 21, which state was at the leading position in estimated value of mineral production and held at 17.14% share in national production? That is Rajasthan. Question 33. In January 2022, the draft National Air Sports Policy was released by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. In line with which flagship program does this policy promote design, development and manufacture of aerial sports equipment in India? That is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Question 34. Which is also known as the Dog Star series? It lies in the consonant canis major, meaning greater dog. Question 35. Who among the following sage is associated with codifying Bharatnatyam dance in the Sanskrit text called Natya Shastra? Sage Bharatmuni. Question 36. Which Asian country National Intelligence Service was included as a cyber defense group under NATO in May 2022? That is South Korea. Question 37. India's mainland extended between latitude 8 degree 4 north and 37 degree 6 in north and longitude 68 to 97 east. Question 38. Which river is a tributary to Alaknanda River and originates from Chorabari Glacier near Kedarnath in Uttarakhand? That is Mandakini River. Mandakini River originates near the Chorabari Glacier above Kedarnath and flows through the Kedarnath Rudraprayag region before joining the Alaknanda at Rudraprayag. Question 39. What is the total number of category of parliamentary committee in the Rajya Sabha? 2. The parliamentary committee 2 broad category standing plus ad hoc. Question 40. What was the annual growth rate of the industrial sector during the period 1950 to 1990? That is 2.6%. Question 41. On April 2022, the Dr. Ambedkar Center of Excellence scheme was launched to provide free coaching to SC students for civil service examination. In how many central university was the scheme to be implemented? That is in 31 and they have 100 sheets. Question 42. According to the Global Quality Infrastructure Index 2020 report, at what position did India rank worldwide in overall quality infrastructure environment? 10th. Question 43. Which British scientist published a treatise on the Indian summer monsoon in the 17th century and attributed it to seasonal reversal of winds due to differential heating of the Asian landmass and Indian Ocean? Edmund Halley. Edmund Halley is associated with an early scientific explanation of the monsoon. In the 17th century, he described the seasonal reversal of winds as a consequence of differential heating of land and sea. Question 44. Which is an inorganic salt of fluoride used topically or in municipal water fluoridation system to prevent tooth decay? That is sodium fluoride. Question 45. Which is of the following was not a policy to promote equity in the agriculture sector during 1950 to 1990? That is land acquisition. Equity in land distribution means land reforms plus land ceilings. Question 46. A state-of-the-art supercomputer was inaugurated at NEET in May 2022 through a joint initiative of DST and NEET. What was its name? That is Paramporal. Question 47. For which classical music is Rudra Veena mainly used for Drupad? Question 48. Which medical herb belonging to the mint family is commonly known as self-healing? That is Prunella berberis. It is commonly called self-heal. It is a herb in the mint family. It has a long history of traditional medical use. Question 49. In which year was the Earth Summit held in Rio de Janeiro, focusing on the global environment and the relationship between economic science and environment? In 1992. It produced major outcomes including Agenda 21 and important international environmental conventions. Question 50. Which type of climate is found mainly along the equator and usually within about 25 degrees of it, where annual rainfall exceeds 150 cm? Tropical wet climate. Equator plus year-round heat plus heavy rainfall is tropical wet equatorial climate. Now moving to English section. Question 1. He prepared into the wound with the bright surgeon's light fastened to his forehead. He prepared into the wound. तो prepare की spelling गलत है, ठीक है, peered आना चाहिए, like looked closely. Question 2. He swept the bright green carpet of this moss garden constantly so that not a leaf met its velvet surface की spelling गलत है. Question 3. He saw a flicker of terror on the young face that was still very whitish. No error. Question 4. Sunita impressed me with her sincerity to hard work. Question 5. Glancing at her watch. Question 6. I was reading the French test and was very glad to get it over. Question 7. Melancholy आपको opposite बताना है. It means sadness और gloom. Opposite हो जाएगा joyful. Minuscule. Minuscule means extremely small and its opposite is gigantic. Question 9. Inane. Inane means silly, senseless or lacking significance. So its antonym becomes smart. Question 10. Clandestine means secret or concealed. So its antonym is forthright. Forthright means open and direct. Question 11. Vouch. Vouch means to confirm or guarantee its truth reliability. Synonym is confirm. Bizarre. Synonym is weird. Bizarre means very strange or unusual. Question 13. Synonym of highbrow means intellectual. Question 14. Synonym of repyramid. Repyramid means scold. Synonym of awry means twisted. Question 16. Arrange. So during my school's PDAC. Question 17. This will arrange this morning. CADB. Question 18. The daily lesson had to be done because BADC. Question 19. Die in harshness means die while working. Question 20. Bolt from the blue means something sudden and unexpected. Now move ahead. Descriptive section. Question 1, essay writing. First topic is pollution, a threat to life. Pollution is one of the greatest threats to life and the environment. It occurs when harmful substances enter air, water, or land and disturb the natural balance. Air pollution from vehicle, industry, and burning fuels cause respiratory and other health problems. Water pollution caused by sewage, plastic, and industrial chemical harms aquatic life and makes water unsafe. Soil pollution reduces fertility and may contaminate food. Noise pollution from traffic, machines, and loudspeaker can affect hearing and mental well-being. Pollution is not only an environmental problem, it is also a social and economic challenge. Government must enforce environmental laws, improve waste management, promote public transport, and encourage clean energy. Citizens can reduce pollution by avoiding unnecessary plastic, saving energy, using public transport, and segregating waste. Industries must adopt cleaner technologies and treat their waste before disposal. Sustainable development requires a balance between economic progress and environmental protection. If governments, industries, and citizens work together, pollution can be reduced and a healthier future can be created for all living beings. Essay 2, India, a land of diversity. India is rightly described as a land of diversity. It has great variety in geography, language, religions, cultures, food, clothing, festivals, and traditions. From the Himalayas in the north to the Indian Ocean in the south, the country contains mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, forests, and coastal region. People speak many languages and follow different faiths and customs. This diversity is not merely a difference, it is an important part of India's identity. Festivals such as Diwali, Eid, Christmas, Vaisakhi, Pongal, and Onam are celebrated with enthusiasm in different parts of the country. Indian classical dance, folk traditions, music, and literature also reflect regional richness. The Constitution recognizes and protects this plural character and promotes equality and unity. The idea of unity in diversity teaches us that people can have different customs while sharing common values and national identity. Respect for diversity strengthens democracy and social harmony. Therefore, India's diversity should be preserved, celebrated, and used as a source of strength rather than division. Essay 3, elements of Western culture have had a very influential role on cultures of the world. Western culture has influenced societies across the world in education, science, technology, political ideas, fashion, entertainment, and communication. Modern systems of schooling, universities, scientific research, and many professional institutes developed through interactions with Western models. Ideas such as constitutional government, individual right, modern democracy, and scientific inquiry have also influenced political and social institutions in many countries. Western literature, cinema, music, clothing, and popular culture have reached global audiences through newspapers, radio, television, and the internet. English has become an important international language for education, business, and diplomacy. At the same time, cultural influence is not a one-way process. Western societies have also adopted food, music, yoga, meditation, art, and other cultural practices from Asia and other regions. Cultural exchange can promote understanding and innovation, but blind imitation may weaken local tradition. Therefore, society should welcome useful ideas while protecting their own languages, heritage, and values. Healthy cultural interaction should be based on respect, adaptation, and mutual learning. Essay 4, the waiting room at a railway station. A railway station waiting room presents a small picture of society. People from different backgrounds gather there for a while, waiting for their trains. Some are families traveling with children, some are students, workers, elderly people, or tourists. Everyone has a different destination and a different reason for traveling. The waiting room is usually filled with movement and conversation. Some passengers read newspapers or book while others check their phones, talk to relatives, or watch the station clock. Porters and railway staff move around helping passengers. Vendors may offer tea, snacks, and water. Announcements about arriving and departing trains repeatedly attract everyone's attention. A waiting room also teaches patience and cooperation. People may have to share limited seats and space. Sometimes a delay tests their patience, but it also creates opportunity to observe human behavior. The room becomes a temporary meeting place where strangers from different parts of society sit together for a short time. When the train finally arrives, everyone leaves with renewed excitement towards his or her destination. Question 2. Letter writing. Option A. Informal letter thanking grandfather for the gift of rupees 5000. So first write address, then date, then salutation. Dear grandfather, I hope you are keeping well. I am very happy to know that you have promised to give me a gift of rupees 5000. Thank you so much for your kindness and affection. I have decided to use the money carefully for buying good novels and useful books. Reading them will improve my vocabulary, writing ability, and general knowledge. It will also help me in my preparation for competitive examination, where good command of English and a wide knowledge base are important. Your gift is valuable to me not only because of the money but also because it shows your love and encouragement. I promise to use it wisely and make the best possible use of the opportunity. With love, your grandson and your name. Option B is a formal letter, flood relief to the mayor. To the mayor, municipal corporation, city, date, subject, relief measure for flood affected people. Sir, ma'am, I am the president of the Rotary Club of our township. Several areas near our school have been badly affected by flood, and many families are facing shortage of food, drinking water, medicine, and essential clothing. Our club purpose to organize a relief drive immediately. We plan to collect dry ration, bottled water, medicine, blankets, clothes, and hygiene material. We request the municipal corporation to identify the most affected areas, provide transport, and coordinate distribution. We also propose to work jointly with NGOs, the Red Cross, local schools, resident welfare association, and other voluntary organizations so that relief material reaches people without duplication or wastage. A common collection and distribution center can be created for better coordination. I request you to extend the necessary administrative support for this relief effort. Your faithfully, President Rotary Club. Question 3 is of precy writing. You have to read the passage and identify the main idea and set a suitable title for it, and then write in 1/3. क्वेश्चन 4 दैट इज़ ट्रांसलेशन. आपको कुछ मिस्टेक मिल सकती है इसमें क्योंकि जो मेन पैसेज था वो पंजाबी से हिंदी में कन्वर्ट करके दैन ट्रांसलेशन की गई है. सो हर वर्ष की तरह इस वर्ष भी हमारे कॉलेज में टूर्नामेंट आयोजित किए गए. लाइक एवरी ईयर टूर्नामेंट्स वर ऑर्गेनाइज इन आवर कॉलेज दिस ईयर टू. इस वर्ष के कॉलेजों की प्रतियोगिता में हमारी टीम ने 22 टीमों को हराकर फाइनल में स्थान बनाया. Our team reached the final after defeating 22 teams of other colleges in the district. दूसरी ओर खालसा कॉलेज जालंधर की टीम भी फाइनल में पहुंच गई. On the other hand, the team of Khalsa College Jalandhar was also reached in final. फाइनल मैच में कॉलेज के मैदान में हुआ. द फाइनल मैच वॉज प्लेड एट द ग्राउंड ऑफ दोआब कॉलेज. मैच के रेफरी चौधरी कर्नल सिंह थे जो जिले में प्रसिद्ध रेफरी थे. Chaudhry Colonel Singh, a well-known referee in the district, officiated the match. ठीक 4 बजे उन्होंने सीटी बजाई और दोनों टीमें मैदान में उतर गई. At exactly 4 o'clock, he blew his whistle and both teams entered the ground. टॉस हमने जीता और अपनी जगह ले ली. वी won द टॉस एंड took our पोजीशन. रेफरी ने दोबारा सीटी बजाई और खेल शुरू हो गया. द रेफरी blew his whistle again and the game began immediately. मैच देखने के लिए बहुत से लोग आए थे और मैदान दर्शकों से भरा हुआ था. A huge crowd had gathered to watch the match and the ground was packed with spectators. हमारी टीम के खिलाड़ियों ने अच्छा खेल दिखाया. All the players of our team played well. और हमने अपने कप्तान पर भी गर्व था. एंड वी वर प्राउड ऑफ आवर कैप्टन. मैच में हमारी टीम ने पूरी मेहनत की और गोल बचाने में हमारे गोलकीपर ने शानदार प्रदर्शन किया. आवर टीम डिफेंडेड स्ट्रांगली ड्यूरिंग द ओपनिंग पीरियड. आवर गोलकीपर वॉज ब्रिलियंट एंड डिड नॉट अलाउ अ सिंगल गोल. अंत में सीटी बजी, हाफ टाइम हुआ और हम बाहर जाकर अपने प्रिंसिपल से मिले. Then the whistle was blown for half time, so we all went outside and meet our principal.